Oh, it's 00. Hello, everyone. Hello. My name is Verta Maloney. I'm one of the co-founders here at the Game Hers, and I am joined today by my co-host Sheridan. Hi, Sheridan. Wave to the people. Wave to the people.
For
We,
that lovely introduction, Verta.
you're welcome. Sheridan has been on our team for quite some time, and Sheridan is actually calling in from Japan to be a co-host today. So
Yes.
Oh, wow.
exciting. I love it. I have to tell everyone that. We'll talk more about that next 2 days because it has everything to do with with your professional pursuits in life and in the world. And so we're really excited to kick off our boot camp with Ahman Green, who I always refer to in the full on. I could maybe say the middle, but I won't go there. And Ahman is a former American football player. He played for 12 seasons in the NFL, all-time leading rusher for the Green Bay Packers. For any fans out there, just had to put that out there. And he's currently the director of esports and a lecturer at the University of Nebraska. I have had the pleasure of being on Amon's podcast. I'm on Green's Gamers Lounge. Everyone should check it out. It's always a fun time, always interesting topics. Talking about esports, talking about just breaking news, the world, life. I don't even know what we talked about. We chatted it up. Probably joked me about my Apex gameplay. Um, but you all should check it out. And just all around, Aman is just a really super dope human. I'm really glad to have him in my life as a person that I know, and also to have him here to share the things that he knows about starting, about building and organizing an esports program. So I am going to stop talking. Oh, wait, let me just do a little bit of housekeeping. One,
Uh,
the chat will be open. We'll have Aman speak, and then we'll answer any questions that come up in the chat, and we'll pose that to Aman. And that's all I got. I'm so happy to have you here. Welcome.
yes, indeed. Verta, thank you for the great intro. That was it's always fun to hear how when I get introduced, what stats are being used and all that stuff and information. So no, I appreciate you, Verta
Oh wait, the
Maloney.
one the one that I forgot is I saw these quotes by you, and one of them was about like I'm paraphrasing, but you were like in the locker room and if something big was happening, you'd think people would be talking about the game, but everyone's talking about the new Madden drop, and and I feel like the video games are all around us. So just like some insight into what
Yes,
is happening in the locker room, folks are also talking about Madden in the locker room. So and video games are
no,
everywhere. I thought that was funny.
got it. Yeah, that is sometimes a subject, a topic. Instead of if we're going to try to win the game in the second half if we're down. So yeah, it happened from time to time. So, but no, thank you again, like I said, for the intro. That sounded great. I hope everyone could hear me because I see Rebecca said can't hear this keynote, so I wasn't sure if that's been fixed already, but hopefully that is fixed. But yeah, how you build out a esports program from the ground up is something that I've been doing now for 4 years, and I'm basically starting at the bottom up again here at my college, University of Nebraska Lincoln, and I'm super excited about it. The kids here are amazing. The club team has been around since 2019, and they've been running a nice tight ship here. Jade, the the club president, and along with some of the officers, Lindsay and Sam and Jake, Jaden Jaden and Christian, they all been the officers, the treasurer, and the coaches pretty much as per se, and the game advisors. They have a nice little structure that I learned right away. And so I'll say for example, if you're going into a program and they have a club team, I say one thing you probably need to do, and it's something I learned from a good friend of mine, Doc Haskell from Boise State. He said, learn the lay of the land. And so learning the lay of the land right now is it's a club team here and is very, very well organized and run by Jade, who is the president. She is a Valorant player and she's the Valorant game manager. And so, getting introduced to her and then learning and talking and asking her all the questions that I need to know is that now, okay, I've established that I say that connection, that friendship, that relationship with the players. so they understand, where I'm coming from, because they all they hear is they got a new faculty member coming in from off campus, from another school that did this before, but obviously they don't know who I am. But I introduced myself, I explained who I, was and where I'm from, the background I had, because obviously the first question, for my background is, well, you played football, you play traditional sports, not, and not the esports space. So I explained how, I was 5 years old, 6, 7 years old, playing Donkey Kong on ColecoVision and Zagzon. And then my dad worked IT. We lived in California at the time, and he would bring home computers to repair, and I would be his repair apprentice. So I would test the computer out by playing Carmen Sandiego or Oregon Trail. And then once I said, Dad, the game works, it's good, he'd wrap it up, take it back to work the next day. So that's how, I kind of explain myself, so the kids don't know. The kids know that I'm coming in, and I understand who they are, because I'm the same. I'm a gamer. I respect it. I'm passionate about it, and I wouldn't be doing what I'm doing if I didn't. And so that was the first thing. If you're doing a new program and you're coming in from a new school, learn the lay of the land and establish yourself with the players, so then they won't be so defensive or non-communicative to where they're not talking to you and stuff like that. You want that full communication all the time through email, through Discord, text message, whatever. A platform is easy for them to talk to you and you to talk to them. So that's like first and foremost for where I'm at. And then down to like the few points that are some of the bigger things is obviously set some goals for yourself as a director or a coach, planning, or that faculty member, planning out this program. Set some goals. If it's from the student engagement, finding out, what drives the school, what's the school spirit, and then seeing what teams they have. Will you have to develop teams, or they have teams that they're already there? You just gotta, assist a little bit. And what I found out in my time just here on campus and since January, that there will like they have League of Legends, they have Overwatch 2, they have CS:GO, Valorant, Rocket League, and Apex Legends. Some of those teams I mentioned, like the League team, the Valorant team, and the Rocket League team, are very good teams, and Call of Duty as well. And they're already they're in the playoffs for most of those games. For the teams that I'm gonna have to, or I'll say games, because they're individual games that I'm gonna have to recruit and develop, is Madden. Madden's not on campus. FIFA's not on campus. 2K players are not. They're here, but they didn't get introduced to the program, because it was a weird thing of toxicity, I say, at the first meeting way back in 2019 or 2018 of the esports program, where the Madden, 2K, and some of the FIFA players felt that the games they play were way different, which they are, from League of Legends and Call of Duty and Valorant, but to where they were name calling the players that played those games, like, for the League players, for the Valorant players, for the CS:GO players, and they were calling them dorks and geeks. And I'm like, wait a minute, don't they realize they were talking about themselves at the same time as they're calling, because they're playing more strategic, more thinking games like a League of Legends. But Madden, 2K, FIFA, I play those games, and you got to realize you're talking about yourself. So I told Jade and I told the members, hey, that's my job now, to clear that up, to get an understanding, for that we're all gamers. There's no name calling, and if it is, we're doing it for fun. We're not doing this to belittle one another. So it's like I said, learn the lay of the land. So I got to learn. I learned that, and I was like, wow. So I got a few teams that I got to develop, but then also continue with the teams that are already running and teach them things like a practice schedule structure, because a lot of the club players, they've been playing from their dorm rooms or their apartments on school Wi-Fi, or if they live in an apartment, the local telecommunication company in town, AT&T or Allo here in Lincoln. So they're using that, so internet might not work, or it might, or it might work. So that right there showed me how passionate they are, how committed they are, and be able to have the competitiveness to be in in the playoffs year over year with these teams. So knowing that part, that's like, okay, that puts me in a good spot in terms of who I'm going to talk to and who I'm going to be working with as players. And so obviously I already mentioned the games. So you got to establish that to what games you're going to play if they're not already established on campus. But like I mentioned here, it's already, usually I say at campuses now, they're pretty much going to be, hardwired, already ready to go. And a lot of the leagues would tell you what games. And if you don't know a game, that's okay. Just go to one of your players that you end up, trusting and learning, get to know right away, and they could kind of guide you through that. And I say really use the kids as your helpers, because they're now, once you get their buy-in and their trust, they're going to give you all the information you need. Any question that you need answered, they'll help you out. So don't feel that you cannot go to them in that aspect. I say use the kids for everything, because you're going to help them get better, and they're going to help you get better, at your job in terms of listening as a coach or a director to make sure everything gets off the ground. I'll pause there for if there's any questions. Oh, okay. Gotcha. Yeah. Bam. All right. So yeah, I'm gonna pause there for a minute because I know I've been rambling. Um, is there any questions here in the chat that you would like to throw at me right now? Okay. So I'll continue on. And so number that was one, set your goals, choose your games, and then any questions pop up, I'll just go straight to the chat from there as I'm continuing to talk. And then the next thing and the biggest thing is then secure your funding. Go figure out if it's going to be a fundraising effort. The school will have partnerships or sponsorships that already donate to the school, and just you're going to go to those places. That's the low hanging fruit where you can ask them, again, and say, hey, can you? We're doing this now. Could you help out with this program? So we have Yali, if I'm saying that correct, Perez. Did you watch the new Super Mario Brothers and its version of TK? Yes, I did. I saw it and I liked it. It was that Seth Rogen, I think, was the voiceover and voice for DK. So that was fun to see. And I'm excited about what Illumination and production companies are doing with the video games of my childhood, of our childhood. If you're an 80s kid, I say if you're an 80s kid and a 90s teenager, there's a lot of good movies that you hope they will bring to light, bring to the big screen. Super Mario movie was one. I'm already thinking about Legend of Zelda. please do that. Do a fun one of that one. So no, I was excited at that. So all right, Lucy says, any tips for getting club sponsors? So it said, as a marketing coordinator for my esports club, I've been struggling to get that going. Okay, Lucy. So some I say some tips there is, like I said, sponsors that already sponsor the school. It might be a double ask, but just find out. And they might be willing to donate the double down if they're already donating to the athletic department or already donated to the school in another department. Just say, hey, we're a new program that's about to start up. So don't be afraid to ask that question. Another one is go to your whatever state you're in, go and search up esports grants. And I was just actually doing that earlier today for our program, just in case once we get to the hard tax of if we need any extra funding. There's esports grants in every state, so search them out online. And see if you qualify. Make sure because they're looking for me. STEM is a big topic of donations or fundraising, where we're STEM for all ages from pre-K to 12, and then obviously colleges is a big deal. And I mean, if you know, I say if you know anybody in and around the town and the city itself, because if you're at a high school, you're at a middle school, you're at a college, the city planning committee or entertainment section of the city that wants to brings events to town, they may want to partner with you in your fundraising efforts. So with that will be an opportunity to partner with and or be sponsored by those companies. And I would say, and then the gaming companies too. The gaming companies like Microsoft, like Sony, like EA Sports, like Activision Blizzard, Epic, they have actually Epic has a program that you can apply for. Just as long as you hit all the tabs, it's esports, it's STEM involved, because STEM can easily fold into your program because you're teaching young kids, you're showing them a gaming PC, how to turn it off, how to update it, how to make sure all the drivers are up to date in all the games that you're playing on the PC. So that would be another I say group to go and get funding from. So I hope that helps out, Lucy. So Freya, what's up? How you doing? What aspects of traditional sports do you believe have carried over and have had the most impact in coaching for esports for you? I would have to say, a lot. For one, what I learned from the traditional sports world of structuring practices for a team. And this, I know for both schools I was at, it was an odd look from the students when I said, yeah, we're going to have practice for 3 hours a week, 5 days a week, which is 15 hours per week. And so, or 3 hours a day, 5 days a week, 15 hours in a week. And so that it was, why are we practicing and all that? And it was like, for me, it was like, huh? What you mean? Why are we practicing? We got to practice to get better and to hone our skills and master our strengths and work on our weaknesses and watch and break down the film. So bringing that over and introducing it to the kids that did not, because a lot of the kids in my first year of coaching at Lakeland, they did not have high school esports background. And so if they didn't have a traditional sports background, introducing them to practicing and video game review or watching the game after VOD review was a whole new I think thing they had to learn. And so coming here in Nebraska, the kids are really already doing that, so they're really excited to hear that I'm continuing that on. I say also the stuff that I brought over was the fact that we're in the weight room, or we're doing activities where I'm putting them in. I'm categorizing that as our team workout to make sure they are sweating a little bit, sitting down in a chair for a long time, not just for esports practice, but you're sitting all day in your classroom. And so that obviously, we're not, excuse me, we're not, people that's human beings, we're supposed to be up and moving around. So sitting down for a long time, your body, certain areas, you could say they get stuck, your back gets tight, your neck gets tight, your shoulders are, feeling a certain way. So I make sure we get in the weight room, not heavy lifting, but just staying real flexible, doing a lot of core stretching, a lot of core building. So in terms of yoga, those would be some ways to go. Cardio training, doing a lot of treadmill, bike, Peloton, recumbent bike, rower, stuff like that. Because like I said, we're not building football players or basketball players, but we, as a professional esports athlete or a college esports athlete or a high school esports athlete, you can play better if your health is and everything else, your health, your rest, your mental stability, your mental, everything is all aligned with that, then you'll be able to play a lot better. So that was something I promoted at Lakeland, and now what I'm doing here at the University of Nebraska. So we have Karen says also, as someone who has close relationship with collegiate esports and game education in my area, how do I approach wanting to support them at my place of work when I'm not in that kind of position? I say, dude, just trying to find the best way to, help them out. I mean, I would say, let me see, you're in collegiate esports and game education area. Yeah, just try to, whatever let them know that because as long as you're upfront and honest with a gamer, and we're dealing with gamers that are students that are, I think, Generation Z. And I think the biggest thing I've learned with dealing with Generation Z is that you just got to be honest with them. Tell them up front exactly what you could do, what you can't do, and what they may need to help you with, and what you can help them with. And then once you're honest, you start to get their buy-in, and then more times you get to show them, how you can help them and how they can help you, and y'all start working together. That buy-in gets better and better. and then they'll start to trust you more, and you start to trust them, and then things start to really mesh together, and then everybody's on the same page in the esports club or the esports team. So, all right, I asked a few questions. I'm gonna finish with my breakdown of developing a program, and I say so. And then so another point there is recruiting players. So starting to find the local high schools in your state that put out the better players of whatever of the games you're playing. Find the high schools that have the best Rocket League players, the Valorant players, the Overwatch 2 players, Madden 2K. Find those schools out. Make a connection with the coaches. Make a connection with the administrators, and let them know, hey, we have funding coming. We have a program coming, or we already have an existing program. We're going to have scholarships. That's all part of it, because once you have those scholarships, then the students, they'll find out. You'll probably get more messages coming to you than you going out to the students that's asking, how do I earn a scholarship? And so just have those questions ready. It's a GP thing, GPA thing. Have a GPA 2.0 or 3.0 or something in that range. ACT score, SAT scores, what games you play, what's your rank, stuff like that, because recruiting is going to help you continue with the building your roster out with the attrition as players graduate. Then you have incoming freshmen coming in, and so making sure you know who those freshmen are, and before that, because you have already been talking to them at their schools that you created that relationship with, and then it just then starts the process. And year over year, I know, and then year over year, that school will contact you automatically, say, hey, we got another round of Rocket League players, or we have another round of Valorant players. Here you go. And so now that's the coach calling you. So now you already have that connection. And I was able to establish that with a couple high schools in Wisconsin when I was at Lakeland. So that was Two Rivers High School and Random Lake High School. And Two Rivers had a lot of Rocket League players and Overwatch 2 players and Super Smash Brother players. A few played Rocket League, a few played Valorant and Overwatch 2, but mostly Super Smash Brothers players that I grabbed out of that high school there. And then development, and then another one is developing, your team rules, your team values. So that's where you are learning, you're teaching the players now, okay, this is how we're going to work in this building, in our facility. These are the rules, these are the guidelines. We're going to hold each other accountable respectfully. We're going to make sure we show up on time, make sure that when we're in practice, we're focused, we're not on our cell phones, we're not doing homework. You'll have time to do homework. We did have homework days, so where we weren't playing video games. We're actually, studying up and doing stuff for our classes. So if we're not in that day, you should be focusing on the game. And then other rules, respecting each other, how you talk to one another, making sure you have all those guidelines set once your program, I say even before, but once the players get in the building, you set that with the players. As a coach, you could definitely have your 4 or 5 rules that are like, you should live, you want to live and die by, but then you want to make sure that players pick out another 5 or 6 where you end up with 12 to 15 guidelines that makes up your esports roster, or your esports guidelines for the team. So everybody is respected, everybody has a voice, everybody feels comfortable. It's a safe place, and make sure, because that then it will help the team to run very smoothly. So let me jump into one of the other questions in here if there was any more. Oh, here we go. Che here says, where do you see the future of collegiate esports, and what's the main goal for your environment? So where do I see college esports going? I see it going eventually one day to pro levels. What we see in the traditional sports of pro levels. When I say that, I say, it's on TV every night. You have big networks that are supporting them with their funding. ESPN, NFL Network. We might have our own network. I know it's a company that I work with called ESTV, and the Gamers also work with them. So those networks are out there starting to grow. It takes time, just like anything else. You gotta, as an investor, as somebody, as a department head, you just gotta have patience. Just be due diligent in your work, and that one day it's going to pop where a company then partners with you, and then y'all have the biggest thing that we all need is funding to keep it up and rolling. And so until that time, college esports, pro esports can continue to grow, but it's there. And we're going to start seeing a lot of colleges already doing it. They're building out esports facilities that are bigger, more capacity, where they're holding 2,000 to 3,000 to 5,000 fans to come see their game. And it's on campus, it's their own building, and that's sharing their building with another department, like the athletic department playing in the basketball stadium or something like that. So, and we're going to start seeing, I believe, it's already in the Olympics. I studied up on the Olympic, video games being in the Olympics, but it's not quite the games that I thought. So it's like more simulated games. But I think that's going to change. That's going to then transfer to the games that are playing at the college level, that are playing at the pro level. The Overwatches, the League of Legends, the Street Fighters, the Call of Duties, the Halo Infinite, Madden, NBA 2K, FIFA. Those games eventually will show up at the Olympics. I see a lot of possibilities out there, and it's nothing to me. It is so many ways to skin a cat, and the traditional sports, just like if you mirror that to the esports, it has all the same makings because it's competition. There's, from a sponsorship standpoint, there's the funding you could put towards the deliverables for the advertisements, the logos on the stream at the bottom left or the bottom right or the top right or top left, or a commercial running through the middle of the production. So there's all the possibilities. It's just now the companies just gotta know that it's there, because they just think so hard about what is esports. How do we relate that to football, baseball, basketball, soccer, hockey, golf, cricket, wherever, depends on what part of the planet you're on. But you really say, hey, this is the same thing as supporting football, giving it the analyzers, the talk shows, breaking down the game from 10 different opinions. So I believe esports is headed that direction. And then that's where, they already have tires and tread on the tires going down the road. So just continue to grow from that point. Great question there. So let me get to and then last few points before I get to the rest of the questions is, so training your coaches. If you have the funding to hire part-time and full-time coaches, great. And they'll obviously help you out because they'll know the game from a player point of view. They'll be able to help you organize practice, and they'll be just that extra person in the building. So you just feel less overwhelmed trying to do everything yourself as a head coach or a director. And so having coaches, developing coaches, and I say one thing I did on my first 2 years at Lakeland, I was able to develop some of my team captains for the teams into coaches later on. Both of my team captains for my League of Legends team, Brett Sheldon, who is now the head coach for Lakeland, and then Robert Zong, who transferred. He actually doing his graduate degree over down at Carthage College in southern Wisconsin. So take those players. Those are the players that definitely know the game. They understand team dynamic, and they're kind of just a photocopy of you and what your beliefs are, how you coach, how you build out the team from the player development standpoint, how you build out your program, finding the funding, and then keeping the funding, recycling in every year, making sure you're re-upping the sponsorship and the partnership deals to keep everything, constantly growing, because eventually it'll be attrition of the gaming machines, the PCs, the gaming stations. So new GPUs come out, new monitors come out every year, every 2 to 5 years. You're going to have to change out stuff. So having that funding, or having a program, or being in a program that will help you with a discounted rate to then trade in your older PCs for newer ones, obviously that keeps the program up and rolling there. And then, making sure you have the best quality equipment there. It'll be, the best monitors, the best PCs. So I know a lot of universities and most high schools, they have a IT partner. So Dell, which has Alienware, which, to me, in my opinion, that's one of the best out there. But then you have Origin PC, you got CDW, you have Lavono, another good company that can all help you and supply you with your gaming equipment. But then from the furniture standpoint, there's companies like Spectrum Furniture that's located in Southwest Wisconsin, La Crosse area. Scott Dorn is one of their head department heads of getting gaming furniture to all the facilities and universities, schools out there. So they do a good job at, giving you a call and taking your time through the catalog and picking out the equipment for your arena. I mean, so you then, now what I'm learning is you got your gaming equipment, but then you also have your production equipment that you have to build out, or bid out and find the prices, find the cameras, the webcams, the headsets, the PTZ cameras, that's the 360 camera that can spin around and could cover a wide area. What type of point of view do you want to give the fans that are watching, your audience that are watching from your Twitch channel or from your YouTube channel? So that's where you start to, really put together your esports budget, along with, your budget equipment plan, along with what you already have done with the team and the funding and the recruitment of the players and everything like that. And then after that is once you get to all those points, from the goals to the games to the funding to the players that you're recruiting to building out your team rules, training the coaches, and then building out your space. The next one is just obviously probably the easiest one now is finding what area you're going to compete in. And there's about four or five leagues that you're there to compete in. You can sign up for college level. It's NACE, it's NECC, it's ECAC, and GG leagues as well. So that's four right there, but there may be a couple more. And then sometimes the developers, so EA, they'll have independent Apex Legends League or the collegiate level. I don't know about the high school level, but definitely for the collegiate level. EA and also EA, well, Madden, they'll have a Madden League, and they do a MUT League, which is the Madden Ultimate Team, or they might do a yard tournament, which it's a game within the game of Madden, that's like 7-on-7, and then they have the regular Madden that's 11-on-11. So just figure out what your players want to play, and that's why I said that's the easy part. You just ask your players, hey, what do y'all want to compete in? If y'all don't have nothing, if you're a new program, you're just starting up, and the players let you know. They'll say, hey, coach, we have a lot more league players. We have some Call of Duty players. We have some Valorant players. Let's go there first. And you start with those 3 games and then continue to build out from that standpoint. So, so just remember, building out an esports program is, like I mentioned, a continuing, ongoing process that requires, I say, ongoing effort, dedication. And so with careful planning and execution, your program can help students to develop very valuable skills in terms of communication, teamwork, collaboration. And with that, then you can then start building out the legacy of the school, the legacy of you as a coach in your program and what y'all stand for. And when you have players that come out of that program that are more excited about just going into the real world because they earned their degree, even though they had the chance to play esports at the college level, and they're more focused on getting a job at the next, at the business level. That's where, as a coach, I say you definitely did your job. So I think that covers pretty much all kind of what you probably will need to know and do. Like I said, and it's a grind. It's nothing. It's sometimes it's some long days. It's definitely some long nights. And but you just got, if you have the passion, like I know, like myself, I'm just gonna, I'm a glutton for punishment. I'm a glutton for punishment. So sometimes I make stuff harder on myself than I want, but I'm a grinder, and I like to get into it. And the biggest thing for me is seeing these young adults, go from being young people, the freshmen and their sophomore year, to young grown men and women, and going out into the real world if they're able to stay in the industry, in the video game industry, and then progress from there. So that's the win for me, and obviously winning games too. That's another little part of it. But outside of that, just making sure those kids graduate, and they graduate not only getting their degrees, but then they're well-grounded human beings, and they're good people. They're good human beings on this planet. So maybe one more question on here, a couple more questions. It says Lucy. Yeah, I think it says Lucy here, what kind of experience and qualifications are necessary to be hired as a collegiate esports director? Great question, Lucy. I say the experience you would need would be is leadership skill. I say leadership skills and organizational skills, because you're obviously leadership skills you're gonna put forth onto the students and or even the coaches that are coaching under you. And so having that leaderships develops the skills develop, you know what accountability is, you know what respect is, you know what dedication is, and then they learn it better by watching you acting that out when you're coaching, when you're organizing a meeting, when you're talking to the class or to the group about the next event or the next task they have to do to accomplish as the program. So the first thing is, like I mentioned, setting your goals. When you set those goals, you're showing what type of leader you are, because then you're planning ahead. I say most good leaders, great leaders, they have an idea what what they want to do down the line. I just wrote this to our newsletter here on campus today, a little line that said, if you do not plan ahead, you plan to if you do not plan ahead, you plan to fail. So if you don't have a game plan, basically you're not going to have a game plan to win. So I say, well, that's 1 point for an esports director. Have that vision of where you want the program to go, and write it on paper. You could share it with somebody right away, or you don't have to share it with nobody right away, but as the program progresses, you could share it with your team captains, you could share it with your assistant coaches, so they know where you stand, and that you're both on the same page. And then what else? Let's see, anything else? Qualification. I said, and just get into gaming. I say start playing a game, because I know from my experiences of coaches and directors and people being hired as an organizer of the esports program, it was sometimes the people I was getting connected with, they might have played Madden one time, or 2K once, or League of Legends once, and that was their club, their prerequisites. And so if you don't play now, start playing something, and it doesn't have to be hardcore, just casually play it so you understand the life of a gamer and what their mindsets are when they're playing a game. You kind of start to relate to those little details that you might hear your players in a conversation talking about, or you might, and then you learn the verbiage too. You get on their level, so you understand what they're saying. So when they say something, you know exactly what they're talking about. You're not kind of like lost in limbo, like what did you say with that phrase? I don't know what that means. So you want to do that to help yourself out. But from a actual like education standpoint, leadership skills and organizational skills, those are the two biggest skills that you got to have. And then everything else, the variables like determination, dedication, just make sure, because if you're a person that likes to start a job and finish the job, then being a esports director or be esports coach, you're in the right space there. And then Mia says, I love the name Mia, nerdy nursey. What would you like to see in the future regarding improvement in support and policies and procedures around esports healthcare? Oh man, I like this one. Between obviously the health, I already talked about how I get my players in the weight room, but also I would like to, in some schools they have it. I know Lakeland had it, where the players or students in general could go check in with the counselor on campus if things were going on mentally with them. And as a coach, as you get to know your players, and you notice things, ask them that question. Just say, hey, are you okay? Are you doing good? Because once you get to know people and you get to know young people, they'll be able to tell you without them saying a word how they're doing, if it's bad or good. So pay attention, and then recommend them to the school counselor. But if it's something where you don't have that established, make sure you get that established. And then also for as a coach, let the players know, hey, when you need time off, let me know, because I'd rather you get yourself better or give yourself that time to decompress, because maybe the competition is getting serious and super intense, or anxiety is kicking up, nervousness is there. And then on top of that, you got to remember they're college students, so they got classes, they got projects to do, they have tests to study for, they may have a job on top of all that. And so they're learning how to be adults, so you got to sometimes pay attention to that and maybe give them a break. Say, hey, I know you want to be in here, but it's better for you to, just go to, let's take a day off. Let me know when you feel better. And I've had that conversation. I've done that to some of my players where I gave them 2 or 3 days to get their mental together before they came back into the facility. So you got to be very conscious of that. And I say that's a real thing. Mental health, physical health, all of it is just like it's a team. When you have one player that's off, then it does. Then the team is not working properly. So that for me, that's a big thing. Always asking my kids. I check in with them. Hey man, how you doing? How class is, how's work going, how's your family going? Doing, just to see something, because you find out real quick. Oh, coach, this is a bad day. I broke up with my girlfriend, or I broke up with my boyfriend, or I failed this test, and now I got makeup work I need to do. I'm like, okay, what do I need? How can I help? In that, can I just sit here and listen, or can I recommend, some advice? Let them tell you. You just ask that question, how can I help? And because, like I said, they're young adults developing into, older, full grown adults, and so they're not quite there, but they definitely need the help along the way. And then we got we'll say that again. Oh no, I didn't get that one. That's a good question. So for a student, would be to help the coach or help their team by promoting it as much as they can amongst their friends that may not know, people off campus. And this, so for every student that does that, a lot of kids we already know a lot of kids have social media accounts. And if somehow they are a graphic art design major, start using that major to help create graphics for their esports team, because that's where some of the funding goes to, because of the coaches or the assistants you might have to hire. And I say that falls into the coaching hiring stuff, because you're going to have people that you may need help with social media. So if they could promote it word of mouth and through social media, if they can, obviously, if they're a player on the team, be coachable on the team. It's even if they're a newer player, they're a younger player, just be mindful of that the coach is having to do a lot of organization every day along with the other coaches. So it makes it easier on that coach if all the players are listening, are paying attention, not on their cell phone, are into practice, and in the practice to get better. And that helps everybody, because then everybody's paying attention, and people, they'll grow off each other, because they'll see one kid paying attention, and it's like, all right, I think I need to get in line too, because this is going to help our team play better, because we're all focusing and on the same page. And I think sometimes players don't realize how much power how much power they have in a team setting. So hope that answers your question.
I see another one that's kind of connected to that. It's from Misty. It seems as though for recruitment, you were mainly looking at high schools. How do you effectively reach players that are already in the university but may not be on the team?
Right. I'll say that you could talk to what I did here at Lincoln, actually. So being I say most colleges or departments will have like a weekly or monthly newsletter. So one avenue, I'll say, before the newsletter, you could just talk to the players that you already connected with and say, hey, can you reach out to other kids on campus that you think or you may know be interested in coming to our team, that are already here on campus. But then for here at the College of Journalism, we have a weekly and a monthly newsletter. And so find out whoever edits that newsletter to say, hey, I want to do, can I put a little blog in there saying, hey, for any on-campus students that want to be involved in the esports program that is coming to campus, or that's going to start in the fall, or that's here now, here's my contact information. Or you could talk to these other assistant coaches to let them know that you're interested in playing. So that's a few little detail, little notes there.
Okay, we have tips. Another one.
There you go.
some tips. What do you think best way to get high schoolers in lower income areas to get started with the path to help people get started on the or with collegiate?
I would say once you know of the program, I would say obviously help that school. You would probably have to. I say one way would be. I say how I would look at it. I would try to help that school get get some sponsors, get partnerships with some of the companies that I'm working with at a university, because those companies are looking to help local high schools as well, for either funding, equipment, because remember STEM is a big part. Science, technology, engineering, mathematics is a big part of the gateway into esports, into video games, into game development. Is the science and the technology and the engineering and mathematics side of it, where you can connect that local high school, with the other local high schools if they're not playing in their esports association. I say program leagues, like most of Wisconsin is what was Wisconsin High School Esports Association that got developed in 2016, 2017. Nebraska's Esports Association, I think it was around 2018, 2019, and they have their state championship next week. And most of those associations, the High School Esports Association, they have partners in that support the league itself. So they will be able to guide like a new high school that is developing program and say, hey, these are our partners. And now they're your partners. So you could call them and get all the necessary information for on equipment, or gaming equipment, production equipment, and how you take over space in terms of the wiring, the paint, the carpet, whatever. They usually, the high school esports associations in the state, they have that information for up and coming new high schools that are starting their esports programs.
One more that I see here, and obviously anyone can put any more questions in the chat, and if I missed it, just shout it out. But you had talked about like the mental health and like just building, helping to support young people into becoming like great people. And so Mia said, I love all those points. Do you recommend collegiate have a performance or health wellness staff member? Is that financially possible?
I believe it. Yes, it's definitely financially possible. One reason is because they probably already have that person on campus or from another department for either traditional sports. I say at a bigger school, like Nebraska, a conference school that's like Big Ten, Pac-10, SEC, ACC, Pac-12. I believe they probably already have somebody that on campus. But if it's a lower, D2, D3, junior college, community college, that's where you could delve into um, students getting, I guess, hands-on experience. If they're a student going through becoming a counselor, a child counselor, or an adult counselor, they can potentially work in this, within the esports program and get hands-on, mentorship and training by helping the players for the esports team, or any team really for that matter, not just the esports team, but traditional sports teams as well. I believe that is I know when I played football 30 years ago here at the University of Nebraska, we had a sports psychologist on the roster, on our coaching staff. His name is Dr. Jack Stark. And so he helped me out with anxiety and nervousness in my freshman year when I was about to play, on TV in front of millions of fans. I got a little nervous a couple games, and he helped me, along with my coaches too. I was verbal about it. That was the good thing. I told my coaches, hey, I'm anxious, I'm nervous. So, but for the program to already have that built in there, I think I know that'll help out not only the player but also the coaching staff too, to make sure the players are getting what they need. But a lot of programs I think are already going that direction. I've been to a lot of I've been to a lot of panels like this and summits like this where that's a big a point of topic, because that's, if people forget about the mental side of anything, then you're just setting yourself up for failure, because we're human and we got to have all these little tidbits of support system around us, from the mental to the physical to the being active and engaging, to then obviously knowing when to decompress and get your mental aligned with the rest of your body. And so I see most programs. I know we're going to have I know here in Lincoln they have I know sports psychologists on staff already, so I'll definitely be asking the question, hey, can I still feel your counselors, please? Just to let kids know that we have you available and we could reach out to you anytime when we need it. And from a financial point, from the lower schools, I would say it will definitely be a point of emphasis, because obviously you want to just put it in that budget line. So if you have to hire somebody, you got some funds to at least appease the person, give that person that they can earn while they're helping out your team mentally. Okay. We was just told we got about 5 more minutes to go. So I say how I will put the icing on the cake on myself and uh, sharing these points of information to build out an esports program from the ground up. And I kind of mentioned it already. I say, for one, if you don't have a passion for it, hopefully you can find it somewhere, because that's going to help you on the hard days of grinding, building out this program. Because there's going to be days where it doesn't really seem possible because of funding, or maybe you don't have enough coaches, or it's just you. Because my first year, I was it. It was me. I was the assistant coach, the head coach, the social media coordinator, the shoutcaster, what else? The fundraising effort, for fundraising arm. So I think I had 9 or 10 hats on. And I think now programs are understanding that obviously people need help. So that's may hopefully gone out the window. But if it's not, just hang in there and just keep grinding and working, and always ask for help. When it just bringing somebody in that could, hey, can you do social media? I just need a little help with that, because I got to do this at this time. And so delegate, definitely delegate. And I said, if you have that passion there already, then really it's just a matter of time of your program, growing legs and feet and head and arms, and it's going to be up and walking really soon. Because if you have that passion for what you do, not just esports, but for anything, I think that I think everybody understands what I'm saying. When you have that passion for it, you're going to make it happen, and it's going to be successful, because you're going to put your heart, sweat, and tears into it, like I have, and it's going to continue to prosper and grow with the next coaches and everything. You make sure you get connected with those players, because the connection is going to be made by them being on the team, and that connection will never leave. That's what Dr. Doc Haskell told me. He said, you recruit the players, you meet them when they're juniors or sophomores in high school, and I've been to weddings, I've been to birthday parties from the players that I met when they were 15 years old, and now they're 25 or they're 27 or they're 30. So the connections will never go anywhere, and I think that's a part of it that's going to help you as a coach to understand, for those tough days, those dark days, where you're wondering, you're like, mulling over things, and it's going to snap you back to reality, and then help you get up out of if you're having a low day next to a day that's a better day. So just keep your mindset that way, and things will work out.
Thank you so much, Ahman Green, for all of this wisdom and all of the amazing things that you are putting out into the world. It has been really, really awesome to hear you, to see you kind of grow in this esports space and in that career as well. And we are going to head to the outdoor theater in a bit, but if you want to find Ahman Green, where should they find you?
You can find me, social media everywhere. Ahman Green 30 on Twitter and Instagram. My Gamers Lounge podcast is on YouTube, Ahman Green's Gamers Lounge, and then on Twitch it's Ahman Green TV. And then I'm on LinkedIn. I'm on TikTok, Ahman Green's Gamers Lounge on TikTok, but just Ahman Green on LinkedIn as well.
Okay, awesome. Thank you so much. So we'll head over to the outdoor theater or the lounge, but we will start. I am actually completely thrown off with the time. So I think I'm really jacked up with it right now. Sheridan, do you have any idea where we're supposed to be or what time and actually where should we send people right now?
We're supposed to go to the lounge right now, and
Okay,
then at
awesome.
00 go to outdoor theater. But it's up to you if we just want to send
Okay,
everyone
that's
to the
great.
outdoor
Go to the
theater.
lounge. Excellent. No, go to the lounge or go to the side quest, and you can find Ahman's LinkedIn and other place, and there's a giveaway that you can do if you go to the side quest. So we will see you at 00 after we'll put an announcement in. We'll see you in 5 minutes in the outdoor theater.
All right.
Yep. Enjoy this nice break. Do some networking.
All right.
Thank you, Ahman. That was really
Sounds good.
wonderful.
Hey, you're welcome. Yeah. On to the line.
All right. Bye, y'all.